when you say you wish for something, that means you're not willing to change to get the result that you guys want. From here on out, starting next Monday, we're gonna have what's called Millionaire Monday, where I sit down on a Zoom call or even in person with a millionaire, somebody who's earned $1 million, and really talk to them about their story. What's going on, my lovely people? Jermaine Collins here, the Main Key here. Welcome to Monday. Monday's a very interesting day. What I'm rolling out here with the brand is an academy. So I wanted to talk about a few things that are going to be rolling out here daily for you guys that I think would be of tremendous value to you. So on Mondays, from here on out, starting next Monday, we're going to have what's called Millionaire Monday, where I sit down on a Zoom call or even in person with a millionaire, somebody who's earned $1 million, and really talk to them about their story. Talk to them about who they are, what they've accomplished, what their failures and successes were, how they bring value to people. Because I think it's important for us to really figure out what our identity is, our identity. What I mean by that is a few things. So I've learned in my experience, there's 3 things that are super important for you to figure out what your true identity is with what you're doing. And then when you take inventory of who you are, what you failed at, what you've lost, your accomplishments and your successes, there's 3 things that you'll figure out whenever you jot those things down. I made a list actually in this book just right here, and I wanted to talk to you guys about a few things about who I am, and I think it's super important. So the first question that you guys should write down, and the first question that I wrote down to really figure out what type of story that I'm telling, is number 1, who are you? What have you accomplished? Who are you? The first thing is, who are you and what are you known for? So here's a few things that I've written down here. My name's Jermaine Collins. They call me the Main Key. They call me Maine. They call me Germ. They call me a social media guy, a friend, a leader, a mentor, a motivator, a salesman, a marketing guy, a networker, a content creator, a son, a brother, a college dropout, an athlete, a preacher's son, a military brat. I'm half black, I'm half Filipino. I'm a manager, I'm a boyfriend, I'm a mentor, I'm a teacher, I'm a security guy, I'm a smart home guy. I knock doors, I'm a nephew, I'm an uncle, I'm a cousin, I'm a bank loan advisor. I am a weightlifter, I'm an investor, I am a business partner, I am an independent contractor, I'm a traveler, I'm a COVID survivor, I'm a coach. So those are some things when you jot down yourself of who you are, I think that's important. And these are the things that I'm going to ask on Millionaire Monday. Like, who are you? What do you stand for? What are you known for? I think that's important. Here's another question, number 2. This is the second question that you should ask yourself, and these are some of the questions that I'm going to be asking on Millionaire Monday. Number 1 is, who are you? What are you known for? Number 2 is, what are your losses and failures? So here's some losses and failures that I've had. I would love to share with you guys. I'm a college dropout. Let's see here. I've lost my heart. I've lost myself. I let a dog die. I didn't protect my brother one time. I didn't show up for my family. I lost a scholarship. I failed in a network marketing business. I embarrassed myself in sales multiple times. I felt not good enough for a girl. I've been turned down by good friends. I'm a procrastinator. I've been broke. I've blown money. I'm a small thinker. I've had bad judgment, and I've trusted liars and people who are deceitful. So take inventory. I wrote a list of about 32 losses and failures that I have here. And here's a lesson that I learned from Grant Cardone, if you don't know him. He said, if it's true, you're not bragging. So what I wanted to talk about next, which I think is super important, is your accomplishments. Like, what have you accomplished so far? I was sitting down with a good friend, somebody that I've known for about, I'd say 3-4 years now, and we sat in a coaching call. Actually, he just came over. We sat down for about an hour and a half, and I asked him these same questions to really help him discover how he's valuable, what story he's telling, and really have a different perspective and a shift on what he's doing on a daily basis. Because my intention is for you guys specifically is not to change what you guys are doing on a daily basis, but to change the way you think and the perception that you have on what you're doing, which will create the change. Because he was talking about, I wish I had this, in a few years, I wish I was here. And a lesson that I've learned is that if you wish for something, hey, I wish blah, blah, blah. When you say you wish for something, that means you're not willing to put in the change, you're not willing to change to get the result that you guys want. So he was always talking about there. And this is a good lesson that I've learned and I've taught multiple times to people now. And I think it's super important is that there's a difference between there and here. Like you guys are here right now. You're here watching this video. When you're at work, you're at work. That's where you are. Now, here's the thing about it is that our mind, and this is what I'm gonna break down here. There's three things: your heart, your head, and your hands. When you find yourself in all those three states, having your heart, having your head, your mind, your thinking, and your hands all working on the same thing, that's when you can find your purpose, your passion, what's meaningful to you. So you can have a job. I was talking to him. He could currently have his job. He has his job right now. Hands, specifically, he was working in maintenance, so he's working on his hands. And he was telling me that his head wasn't there. Every day he's at work, he's on autopilot, and his head wasn't there. And his heart isn't there either. He feels like there's a void, there's some unfulfillment that's happening there. So I asked him, like, how could he be more of value in his workplace? And he was thinking about different ways, in the way that he even communicated with the people at his job, and the way he went about his job, which he could change the perspective on the way he thinks. Like simple things like this. You could find meaning and purpose in what you do on a daily basis. And it's a super simple question that you got to ask yourself, because you can go internal by asking this. Why? Why are you doing what you were doing? Why are you in the position that you are in now? So I wanted to talk about some of my accomplishments that I wrote down here because I think it's important. So number one, who are you? What are you known for? Number two, what are your losses and your failures? And number three, what are your accomplishments? So I wanted to share some of my accomplishments with you guys. I'm a what's called Sales Cup champion. So I worked in the #1 office in the largest smart home company in the world, and we won what's called the Cup, kind of like soccer. We won the big championship in sales in that competition. I'm a Viper champion, so same thing there. It was a smaller competition that we won as well. I've been a top sales rep, top 10 sophomore in the entire company out of thousands and thousands of reps. I've been a top earner in a specific day. I was the #1 rep in the entire company for one day. Nothing crazy, but that's an accomplishment that I had. I've knocked doors for 2 years. That's a big accomplishment. I've played college football. So that's a huge accomplishment. I played running back and slot. I have the highest RMR of any vet in the last business that I was in. So RMR means recurring monthly revenue. So I was bringing in the most money per deal for any veteran that was in our office. I've spoken in front of 1,100 people. I've been recognized in front of 5,000 people. I made money without a 9-to-5. I've been on that for about 2 years now. I lived in a penthouse, which is crazy, just waking up every day and seeing the wonderful view. I've drove a supercar, raced a R8 in Vegas. I'm a football champion. As a little kid, we won a lot of champions. I have a lot of championships. I have a lot of medals and trophies back at my parents' house. I've lived on my own for 2 years. I've traveled by myself. I went to Thailand, outside of the country without my parents. I've made $50,000 at 23, which is insane. And I've made $75,000 at 24 years old. That's what I'm a net this year. Let's see what else I got here. I've managed a sales team and coached a sales team. That's powerful. I've recruited 30 people in 30 days into the last network marketing business I was in. I became what's called a Sapphire leadership position at 20 years old in the last network marketing company that I was in. I met a billionaire. Unfortunately, he passed away. Shout out to the Hanson family. I've met a billionaire twice. I met one billionaire with the last company that I worked for, and I met another billionaire, much younger, 50 years old, for a smart home company. Let's see here. I've met And I've hosted even speaking events. So I've hosted my own events at my house. I hosted an event at a mansion at the beginning of the year. I've had an organization that sold over $1 million in contracts. I've sold over $500,000 worth of contracts myself. I've made $7,000 in 1 week. I've made $1,000 in 1 hour. I've worked with the top office in the entire smart home industry. I've worked with the top management group of the smart home industry. I've learned meditation, which is powerful. That's a huge accomplishment for me. I've done meditation groups, which is even better. Having the synergy and the energy flowing in meditation with multiple people can create what's called a mastermind. I've connected spiritually with people. I've found God. I believe in a higher power. I have a vision of my life. That's a huge accomplishment. I have good health. That's a good accomplishment. I'm learning more outside of college. I think that would be valuable for you guys who are my age, because I went to college for 2 years and I've been out of college for 2 years and I've learned a lot more. I made a video with the billionaire. You could scroll down and see a video with me and a billionaire. That's how the MAINE Key is to where it's at now. It's not as big as I want it to, but it can be even larger. And so many more accomplishments. So that's the third thing. Write down your accomplishments. The next thing that you should ask yourself is this question. Man, my accomplishments just keep going and going and going. I float on that one. I think you guys can do that too. The next question, after you get those three down, you have to figure out your head, your heart, and your hands. So write that down: head, heart, hands. With your accomplishments, with your failures and losses, and then with who you are, you can come up with those three questions alone, with where your hands are, where your heart is, and where your head is. Because if you can have your heart there, your head there, and your hands there, that's when you're really in purpose and finding something meaningful with what you're doing. If you have your heart and your head there, but your hands aren't there, then that means you're not doing anything. You're procrastinating. You're not moving towards what you want to accomplish. If your head and your hands are there, but your heart isn't there, you're doing something that you don't really feel fulfilled in. If your heart and your hands are there, but your head isn't there, then you aren't present. You're not in the moment. And that's when I'm talking about, instead of being there somewhere else, you need to be here so you can really accomplish and be present. And have peace in what you're doing. Like, you should be able to withstand the turmoil, the embarrassment, the rejection that you get, because you know you're moving towards something that's valuable. And that's the next question. Once you figure all that out, the next question is, what are you doing that's valuable? So I wanted to share that with you guys. People find value in the fact that there is purpose towards doing something. And that's what I do. From selling a valuable product, to selling myself, to being a friend, or somebody that I work with. Over the past 4 years, I've been on a journey that very few will take, and very few, and there will be very few that have had early success in the path that I'm in. When I was 19 years old, I dropped out of college. Started working at Domino's as a delivery driver when everything changed. I found that I could be of purpose in what I'm doing, no matter what. Understanding myself and finding my purpose, I've networked and worked with millionaires, and that led me to going into my first business, which I made $7,000. The next year I made $15,000. And for the next 2 years, I made $50,000 and $75,000 in earnings. After you ask that question, what you find valuable, the second question to that, once you figure all that out, is what problems are you having? So here's some problems that I'm having, and I wanted to share with you guys. Some problems that I'm actually having right now is understanding how to transfer and teach people to become self-motivated to grow as a priority. I have problems handling business with people I have a personal relationship with. I have problems staying consistent with my intention of what I'm doing. All of my problems that have made me feel overwhelmed come from things that don't align with my purpose and progress in my life. My biggest struggle is controlling my morning and evening routines. I have problems staying focused on a task that takes weeks or months. I have problems with planning and preparing my days, weeks, months in my business. I have problems spending time on producing content for the audience online that I can monetize. So those are some of the problems that I'm having. The third question that you should ask, get your problems down, and figure out what's really going on. Take self-inventory, and that's what I did here. The next thing is, what does your story, or who does your story relate to? I apologize. The third question that you should ask yourself is, who does your story relate to? So my story relates to young people that live at their parents, salespeople that are young, college dropouts, parents with kids my age, 20-year-olds who work a 9-to-5 and who are bored, people who are wanting to do something different, people who want freedom, people who live a spiritually centered life, people who have faith even if they aren't where they want to be. You got to figure out who you relate to and who your story goes to. The fourth question is, what connections can you make from your story? So some connections that I can make is, and this is valuable in when you're telling your story to people. So here are a few things. This is some connections that I can make from taking inventory of everything that we just went over so far. A connection is college dropout to entrepreneur, broke to 100 grand in 2 years, lost myself and found my faith. I managed $1 million sales organization from being a Domino's as a delivery driver. Oops, I said that backwards. From Domino's as a delivery driver, I went to managing a $1 million sales organization. I moved from my parents to a penthouse. I was broke at my parents, and now I'm making money on the road. So there's a few things I want you guys to list out here, and some questions that you got to take inventory in and reevaluate what you're really doing in life so you can figure out what your story is and what's valuable. So I just wrote all the questions here, and I'm gonna go over them one more time. Who are you? What are you known for? Number one, who are you? What are you known for? The second thing is, what have you done? The third question is, what have you accomplished? The fourth question is, what are your successes? The fifth question is, what are your failures? And the sixth question is, what are your losses? So if you put all this information together, you'll find out what's valuable. You'll find out what problems you're having. You'll find out what your story and who your story relates to. And you'll find out some connections that you can make from your past experiences and where you and how you got to where you are now, so you can really figure out if what you're doing is of meaning and purpose to you, because your head and your heart and your hands are there, or you need to reconsider and reevaluate everything that you're doing so you can find something that you can have full purpose in, something you can have complete and full attention in, something that you can find that's very intentional. So you're doing it on purpose. And that's what I wanted to do for you guys, because I love making these videos because I'm doing it on purpose for you guys. There's no autopilot happening here. I think it's valuable that I can share my wisdom and my experience with you guys so you guys can see it along the journey. So I appreciate you tuning in. The main key of the day is, who are you?